Greetings of peace and love, everybody. My name is Ram Hotep. I'm broadcasting on behalf of 13SignsAstrology.com. This video is about the Watchers. A lot of people, many people have heard of the Watchers. Most people associate the Watchers with the fallen angels, or the Nephilim. Now, the Watchers are not to be confused with the Nephilim or the fallen angels. I do not personally associate the Watchers with the Nephilim or the fallen angels. Now, if you've never heard of the Watchers, they're talked about in the book of Enoch. They're also talked about in the Necronomicon and a few other different occult readings. The Watchers are talked about. And many people associate them as angels and things like that. But I'm going to really give you a better perspective from my standpoint on based upon my research on who the Watchers are. Now, the Watchers are talking about basically a group of ETs that were equated to what's called the Igigi in the Sumerian tablets. They're called the Igigi, according to the Sumerian tablets. And they're a group of ETs that were left behind, not really left behind, but kind of left at a certain point in our solar system, and they were basically, their job was to watch humanity from afar and not to intervene with humanity's evolution when the quarantine was first set into place. For those people that don't know what the quarantine is, I did a video on understanding the quarantine, but I'll briefly explain it here. Basically, the quarantine is pretty much a bubble that was set on the earth, blocking any new extraterrestrial beings from coming to the earth and trapping those particular beings that were here on the earth, keeping those beings trapped on the earth for a certain period of time. That's what the quarantine is. Not really trapped on the earth, but more so keeping them blocked away from and quarantined off from the Galactic Federation, which is a federation that controls a part of this galaxy, which I'll go into at another time in another video. So the Watchers were the Igigi, and they were left behind in craft type ships, or I'm sorry, planet type crafts. They were left behind, and they were left to watch humanity's evolution when the quarantine was put into place, or what some people call the spell of Kingu, which is the same thing as the quarantine. When the quarantine was put into place, these particular entities were designated to watch humanity's evolution. And the Watchers were different type of ETs. Some were Pleiadians, some were from Sirius. You had different type of Watchers from different ET groups or whatever, but they were basically Anunnaki that were a part of the council, and their job was to watch. But some of them became rogues. And they began to do their own thing. A lot of the Watchers, like you have a group of Pleiadians that are here on this planet right now that were Watchers at one point that became rogues and began to manipulate and get into the human affairs, and they broke the pact that they had with the council, so they were kicked out and became rogues. Some of the Watchers that were left behind had a pact with the council that they were only going to watch humanity and that they would not intervene in the affairs of humanity, that they would let humanity work out their own karma. And the only time they were working with humans, those particular ones that were up under the pact or the oath, the only time that they would work with humans is if a human was able to telepathically communicate with them, which would show that this human has some type of connection or star heritage if they were able to break quarantine and communicate with the Watchers, because that's the only way you can communicate with them is to break quarantine prior to quarantine being lifted, which will be lifted soon. Like I said, watch my video on lifting the quarantine to better understand that. So that's basically who the Watchers are. It could be any type of extraterrestrials. And some of them became fallen and began to intervene in human affairs. So you could kind of say that the Watchers are the fallen angels, but that's really not the same, because really the fallen angels are the Luciferians or the Nephilim that were kicked out of the council before, like long before. That was before, like in history wise, like you deal with like star history, the Luciferians were kicked out of the council before the Watchers were left to watch the situation or whatever. So that was before or whatever. So just kind of wanted to point that out or whatever, as far as helping people to chronologically understand star heritage and what's going on or whatever. So that's who the Watchers are. They're called the Igigi. They monitor humanity's evolution and crafts, and they answer to Enlil. That's who they answer to. They answer to Enlil, and that's their commander and chief. The Watchers are still around. They still monitor humanity. Those people that didn't break away and become rogues, those Watchers that didn't break away, they are still around. Now I want to go into just a little bit, for a little bit of time, I want to go into working with the Watchers, because I've worked with the Watchers myself, and you can work with the Watchers by basically understanding the Sumerian doctrine and system of, if you want to call it the system of worship. That's how you work with the Watchers. It's best to do it through the Sumerian system. And you can use a Watcher in your rituals. You can use a Watcher in your rituals, and you can have that Watcher and appoint that Watcher to protect you from demonic, evil type of entities when you partake in rituals. Because when you partake in a ritual, what people don't understand is that you're opening yourself up to the fourth dimension. That's what you're doing. So all the beings in the fourth dimension can see you, evil or good, disagreeable or agreeable. They all can see you. So you can protect yourself in different ways when you do rituals so that a negative entity cannot bother you. And one of the ways to do that is to appoint a Watcher to protect you. And it's a certain way that you do that in the occult. And I won't go into that because that's level 2 type of information that I don't give out doing on YouTube. But I'll just say that you can appoint a Watcher to protect yourself when you do certain rituals from disagreeable beings that are plotting on you. So that's basically my information on the Watchers or whatever. And my views on the Watchers, a lot of them were ETs, some of them were part of the council and became rogues. And a lot of them are living here now. The ones that became rogues are living in the center of the earth and on this planet and other places right now. And you have other groups of the Watchers that are still a part of the council and that are still watching humanity in crafts around the planet. There are crafts around in our solar system, and NASA's not telling you about them. And a lot of people can't even see them, even with telescopes, because they're not in the fourth dimension, meaning that their consciousness, they can't see it. It hasn't been revealed to them yet. You see, it's a lot of things that you can see when things get revealed to you. And I'm going to be doing a lot of information and a lot of videos on that when I get into my extraterrestrial version of the second coming of Christ. I'm going to get into the extraterrestrial version of that and what it means from an ET standpoint, from a star seed standpoint. So I hope that helped, though, as far as my video on the Watchers. A Hollywood film, I meant to point this out before I shut this video down. A good Hollywood film you can get on the Watcher, because I try to always offer a film for the most part, is a good film you can get on that is The Watchmen. The Watchmen is talking about the Watchers. That's what it's talking about. So get that movie, watch that. And if you have any questions, shoot me an email at 13signsastrology@gmail.com. I thank you for watching this video. And until we meet again, my friend, I'll leave you all in peace and prosperity.